Hi everyone, get ready for another ripper episode of Enforcer and the Dude. Before we start though, I just wanted to say we'd really appreciate if you could support the people that support us, the companies that bring this show to you. People like Sidal, Castrol, Grays Online. If there's any chance you can support these companies, we'd really appreciate it because that's what keeps this show on the road. Okay, let's get going. Hey everyone, welcome back. Episode 18 of Enforcer and the Dude. Russell Ingall Paul Morris, the Dude, coming to you from the Norwell Motorplex in unlockdown Queensland. Don't you wish you were all here, don't you? You wish, especially you Victorians. Dudes, we're feeling for you. So don't worry, when you get open, get up here, do some laps in the super school cars of Norwell Motorplex, dude. Bit of racing been going on, which is cool.
It's been good. It's taken the pressure off the Netflix. Hey, something else to watch on TV.
Yeah. You went out to Sydney on the weekend and
yeah, drove down. So
bit of a road trip.
Yeah, did a road trip, which was pretty easy miles on that road these days. It's a good road.
Good, yeah.
If they bump that speed limit up a bit, you wouldn't bother getting on a plane. You do that trip in
120, 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the road's a bit more shined up. Got an action-packed show. A very special guest, a legend in motor racing, and you know that's the ones we like interviewing, the ones that have got stories to tell.
We can always learn something.
We can. Alan Grice.
Gricey, hey?
Gricey!
Yeah.
So we got Gricey coming on, so that'll be pretty cool. Got our very first barn find. Like, that's it.
That's a cool thing.
A barn find, and
yep.
I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Again, you trust me, don't you?
Well, mate, if you found something in the barn, Russ, I reckon I want to have a look at that.
Yeah, you will want to have a look at this one.
I know what it is.
Stick around for that. That'll be pretty cool. Thanks to our friends on Grays Online. We got a couple more cars to test on track, a couple of absolute classics, which we're really looking forward to getting out.
It's good, eh? We said if anyone had anything out there that they wanted us to check out, and the response has been pretty good, and we've come up with a couple of crackers
well,
again.
the two race cars got sold on Grays.
Sold, right?
Yeah, the XU1 and the GTHO.
We got them away.
So gone to a couple of very, very lucky owners, and that's going really well at the moment, and we're really enjoying having Grays.
It's a good fit for
classics.
us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they reckon they got some cool stuff in line for us down the road too.
They've been good for supporting the show, and
yeah, for sure. And we're going to have a bit of a review of the racing that's going on. So let's crack straight into it without messing around.
Yep.
We've had 2 rounds of the Supercars at Sydney Motorsport Park. It's about the only place I could get to. Bit of a mass exodus of people out of Victoria, getting out of there before the lockdown.
Mate, it just shows the resolve of people in motorsport that they just get stuff done if they need to. And you look at some of the ball sports couldn't even get out of there, but everyone packed up their stuff, and those guys that are now living on the road, they're properly committed to their sport. So we need to really thank the teams.
Absolutely.
Well, we're here, and
the
guys and girls that work on the teams that have sacrificed so we can still keep our racing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, massive, because a lot of these guys too, whether it be mechanics, engineers, team owners, they're all families, kids, or the rest of it. All of a sudden, and it's a moving target when they're actually going to see them again, as well. Because it could be months. They'll
be on the road for a while, and it'll be tough for those guys, but I had a good talk to everyone down there on the weekend, and they were making the most of it. They were, just concentrating on their racing, and setting up kitchens inside transporters, and all, it was like everyone's cooking their own breakfast and getting into it, and everyone's been assigned other duties to try and make things feel as normal as they can where it could be.
Almost back like it used to be.
Well, it was, mate.
When you went racing in the early days.
Yeah, someone was making the sandwiches, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's not a bad thing. But
thanks to everyone.
Yeah, well done to everyone that's involved in that. You're doing a hell of a job, and keeping the motorsport fans, giving them something to watch. So that's great. The first Eastern Creek race. Racing wasn't too bad. The feedback that I got from the fan base was that most of them enjoyed the new formats, and the racing wasn't too bad.
Racing was good, Russ. High deg, soft tyre.
Yep.
It worked. Still a little bit hard to follow. Like guys, the aero's still a problem. The aero's still a problem, which probably forced them to make the tyre rule for the next race, which was an experiment. But man, there's some mixed views about that.
We'll get to that in a minute. But again, it's, you know, and look, anyone wants to roll back the tape and see what we've, even last year when we were talking about, if they're going to do something about the aero, right, don't give it a trim, give it a crew cut. Like, just give it a big one. But again, you know, what was it, 12.5%? No good. I mean, Shane Van Gisbergen and a couple other drivers that would talk about it did come out and say, no good. As soon as you get behind another car, you just get aero wash, lose the front.
Yeah,
no good. And that's what kills
the gurney,
racing.
Russ. So they put the gurney on the cars
on the rear wing.
Yeah, to try and equal the drag, and that's just created bad aero wash. So that's the problem. And this all started with the Nissan when it came out with that big time attack rear wing. No one could follow the Nissan, and then all the other teams have gone to that big goofy wing, and it's just ruining the sport.
Yeah, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Have a go.
For the sake of, I mean, it's the most inexpensive thing on the car that you could modify to get you better racing.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple.
I agree, mate.
It is, but they went out, still had to make new bumpers and all the rest of it. Could have, instead of taking an inch off, they could have taken a foot. But anyway. Jesus, I don't know how many times you have to keep telling them. But anyway, getting on to the second
racing.
Second race, second race at Eastern Creek, which is the one just gone on the weekend. No good, mate. I actually watched it because it was on free to air, so I flicked it on and had a look. No good, mate. No. Who came up with the idea with the tyre allocation? Who?
Well, the commission. Obviously, the rule had to be ratified through the commission. But yeah, we've had cries of fake racing from Barry Ryan, and when you look at the feedback on the socials, the fans aren't stupid. They don't want to see. The first race and the last race and the third race, there was 4 guys that could have won the race, not 24. So.
It was just, I mean, look, it comes down to the same thing. Again, when we last had Roland Dane on here, and I questioned about it. I said, mate, the problem we got with that category, in my personal opinion, is that there's so many commissions and boards and then there's obviously the team owners, and there's so much noise. There's so many chiefs. I think this is how you come up. I can't understand that if I was a team owner and I got a piece of paper put in front of me, right, saying, this is what's going to happen on the weekend, right? This is your time. I go, no, that's not going to work. It would work if you said you got soft and hard tyres and you have to use them in a race at some stage, right? You have to use one of each, right? But it's specified. Not at some stage over the weekend. Of course it was going to get pear-shaped.
Yeah, well,
because you're going to get one mob, like they did, just run on hard tyres, run at the back of the field, and then decide in the last race to use them all, which that's what happened.
Yeah, well, GT cars have the balance of performance. Supercars have invented the lack of performance. So that's why I look at it. I'm going to have a lack of performance for 2 races so I can look good in the last race, or I'm going to look good in the first race and have a lack of performance in the last 2 races. Yeah. Or if you try and spread your load and maximise the points, you're just going to look average all weekend. So it'd be a very hard thing to explain to a sponsor. For some guys that haven't had a good run, they're down the back, they can roll the dice, put all their eggs in a basket, makes themselves feel good, they get a result. But, for me, there's only 4 guys that could win that race. There are only guys that have got the tyres to win the race. So it's not proper motor racing.
Yeah. And again, it's our, we have our own opinions on this show.
I'd get why you're going to try things, but...
Yeah, but after the first one, after the comeback, which is very important, and getting back on track, and the racing was okay. It was okay. So now's not the time to be going throwing really big curveballs. You got to be, hey, first one was all right. Let's just get through the next one with the same sort of style and format and tyre. Why throw this one down the lane?
I think it was on the line for Winton. They'd already locked in what they were going to do. Maybe there's not much tyre deck at Winton, so it could have been a little bit different.
So Eastern Creek, this is like Phillip Island, massive tyre deck.
Yeah, so I think the racing still would have been pretty good without it.
Yeah, but look, Paul, you know, after the success of the first race, and the racing
Yeah.
was pretty reasonable when they've come back from lockdown, you know, now's not the time to start throwing too many big curveballs, because, you know, you just want to maintain and get through. And this was a massive curveball, and like, no matter what they say, I don't care. If you think that was good racing on the weekend, you don't know racing. And if you were competing in that and thought that was fine, you shouldn't be a racer.
Well, there was some good racing, but the last race there was 4 guys that were trying to win the race, but they were the only 4 guys that had a chance. The only 4 guys with tyres. So
yeah.
It proves that the racing can still be good if everyone's on the same tyre.
Yeah.
If you got deg. So
yeah.
I'd be surprised if they ever do that again, mate. I'll be really surprised, because,
well, like I said, there's not one person you can blame for it either. Everyone has to take responsibility for that.
Mate, as long as you learn from doing this stuff, you got to roll the dice.
Dude,
you got to have a go.
come
Mate,
on.
I was a bit of a fan for it at the start. I thought, oh, okay, might give someone a chance, might get some of the thing, but not taking anything away from the guys that won a race on the weekend, but they weren't exactly doing burnouts across the line and cheering that they'd won. You know what it takes to win one of those car races,
I know.
And on merit. And if you're only racing 4 guys for the win, it's got to be easier than racing the whole pack.
Yeah,
you know?
no, but like I said, it's only our opinions on this show, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no way. There's enough experience there amongst everyone that someone should have picked that up and said, look, guys, this is not a very good idea. This is not, I don't care what anyone says, you know. Like I said, if I saw it, I'd go, no. What
do you think Super2 are doing at the moment? They've had a win. If you're the marketing guys at Super2, and your car's had a win, what do you've watched that race all weekend and gone, my car's nowhere. Oh, I've won the race.
Yeah.
Are they happy, or are they thinking?
Oh, well, look, in the whole scheme of things, they probably don't understand it properly either, or they notice their car's won a race.
People don't understand it, mate.
Yeah. So no, but it's
There's
not.
There's parents of drivers posting how good their kid did.
Yeah, yeah.
They clearly don't follow the sport.
No, it's like I said, I mean, you can mix the compounds up as long as it's allocated to that one race. I mean, let's face it, there's nothing different. Formula 1 and MotoGP even have different compound tyres for each meeting. But that's fine, because there's only one race. There's only one race, right? So yes, let them use it. And you can go out and use them at any time, but they have to, and I'm not adverse to mixing the tyres. If they give you, 4 soft tyres and 4 hard tyres, mixing it up front and back as well. What's wrong with doing that?
Oh, they're all, I don't know, mate. That's not allowed in the rules, but...
Yeah, but why? What's wrong with doing that? It's the same as MotoGP, or MotoGP have a soft front and a hard rear and a soft front, or they can mix it up. But as long as it's allocated to that one race, you can't have it where you got 3 races and you go, well, it doesn't matter when you use it.
I'm just going to stop you, Russ, because I'm going to go to the heart of the problem is why they did it.
Yep.
They did it because no one can pass. Because the cars have got too much downforce, and they've tried to manipulate and fix the problem up.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked.
Yeah.
There's some passing going on, and there's this, but you can't have guys on a race team turn up and know they don't have a chance of going good in that race.
Yeah.
You're not lying in wait in ambush waiting to have a win. You've got to be building your performance.
Yeah, to take a Trump analogy, fake racing, mate.
Well, I agree. I agree. It is fake racing. I agree with what Barry Ryan said. I understand his frustration. Supercars tried something. I don't think it's worked. Will they do it again? I'll be very surprised.
Geez, you wouldn't want to.
I'll be very surprised. Australians aren't stupid.
Yeah. Interesting fact that came out of it, because they had Super2 and Super3 return there. Yep. Which was pretty cool. I looked at the times. I looked at times from Saturday qualifying, right? So, which I fairly relative, same day. I know the Super3's on a different maker tyre.
On the Kumo?
On the Kumo, pretty still a bit hard, durable tyre though. Super 2s are on
Dunlop hards,
right?
18.
So I was looking at the time difference in qualifying because a couple of Super 2 drivers put in a pretty good time. Thomas Randall did a 31.6 in there, but he was head and shoulders. But 32.0 to 32.5 was sort of like the average sort of time for
Super
qualifying. Super 2 new tyres.
High 31s, low 32s.
Yeah, so that was you got Ray Botham actually put in a bloody good time for a Super 3, put him 8th.
Yeah, rookie too. So he comes from Toyota 86, did some TA2 racing up in Asia and stuff.
Must be a half good steerer actually. So anyway, he did a 32.4, like I said, on the Kumo tyre, but still a pretty hard tyre. Going on what the hard tyre, so in qualifying you could use hard or soft, which I couldn't work this out in the Supercars main game qualifying. So anyway, so the fastest one, how did that work? Anyway, so they go out and qualify. Mostert did a 39.4, but the average there was about 30 to 30.5 was an average hard tyre qualifying for the people that used hards in Saturday's main game qualifying, right? So about 30 and a half, right? So I'm thinking, well, between Super 2 and Super 3, you're talking a second and a half, right? Second and a half difference.
Between
so this is the big elite spending millions of dollars a year, right, to go racing, put on a show, right? Then you got the Super 2s and Super 3s, which are half the mechanics are part-timers, older cars, especially in relation to Super 3,
yep.
Real olds.
Project Blueprint cars.
Yeah,
the last of the proper cars.
And that was, remember, Ray Botham only did a 32.4 on that, so a second and a half difference. What's the cost variation? Give me the cost scale between that Super 3 car and this main game supercar.
To build it, be $300,000 or $400,000.
Difference?
Yeah.
To run it? $1 million difference? $500,000?
Yeah, well, when you look at a Super 2 car, they're still a very expensive car to run as well, because you've got the hand-me-down technology of the main game teams, and those cars have got that complicated. You need a link and support from a main game team to actually make it competitive. But if you go back to the Super 3 car, pretty simple car, live rear diff housing, got the cars that me and you drove, gearbox in the middle, easy to understand. You don't need a lot of blokes. You don't need all this technology to run the car. It's not full of electronics and firmware, and they're just overcomplicated. So you're right. You've had all this development, made it so you need more personnel to run the car, and you've gained a second and a half in lap time for a lot of brain damage.
If you took all the livery off the current main game cars and put them on a Super 3 car and sent them out to go racing, for the punter up on the hill probably wouldn't notice any difference. Well, he would. Still loud, still fast.
He'd know that looked like a Falcon.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You could identify with the car.
Yeah.
So
that's where I was getting to it with it all. Is that to me, over all this years of development, all the rest of it, what have they actually achieved? What have they actually achieved?
Nothing.
A second and a half, and you could say some of the main game drivers, with no offence to the Super 2 or Super 3 because they're rookies, there may be half a second in the driver.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
You could probably hustle a bit more. So you may be down to a second difference in equipment. Millions of dollars have gone out the door for the sake of 1 second.
Doesn't make sense, mate. The guy on the hill doesn't know any different than the person watching on TV. I think
I'm just saying,
Yeah. So it all ties in, Russ. They've developed this car, and we've said a long time, it's overdeveloped. It's an engineer's car. No one can race our channel anymore. The Super 3 cars, the Super 2 cars with less aero can pass and race.
Yeah, the racing's been good.
Racing's been good. There's only, and then they invent this goofy formula to try and make some passing, but it'd be a lot easier just to cut the under trays and take the wings off the things.
Yeah, or just
like if you said we can go race next weekend, but everyone pull your wings off, what's stopping you doing it?
Exactly.
You'd work it out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And if they want to be like that, just give everyone a set of steak knives and a meat platter and
WWF.
Everyone gets a prize.
Everyone
gets a prize. It's like going to the circus, mate. Prop Feeney, protege from the
Yeah.
Norwell.
One of the Norwell boys.
Norwell boys. So he's got a gig with James Courtney in the boost car, so that's
it's pretty good.
And he did a bloody good job on the weekend too.
He did a couple of,
qualifying
good speeds there. He raced back through the pack. He had a couple of issues with his starts, which,
it's just
young bloke, just learning. We'll help him get through that. But the big thing for me is Adderton investing and getting behind young blokes. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Brock's obviously, he's got talent.
And then
you always pumped up his tyres, and you're usually pretty good.
Well,
pretty
I wouldn't
good
waste my time if I.
No, you wouldn't.
And put a lot of energy into that program. But the other thing, really, which I thought was cool on the weekend, Pete Adderton from Boost Mobile come out with a band. Any one of the Boost supported drivers could win 10 grand.
Okay, what's that about?
He just said, well, any Boost supported driver in any category that stands on the top step gets 10 grand.
Okay.
That's more prize money than you get. Jesus. So you had Courtney running around thinking, I can get the 10 grand.
Yeah.
Brody Kostecki thinking he could get the 10 grand.
Yeah.
Brock just thinking he'd get the 10 grand. And Macaulay Jones could get the 10 grand. So no one got the 10 grand. But I got a message for him this morning. He said he's going to roll it into the next race.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So pretty good.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. Hey, what do you make of TCR's been very quiet over the break. To Supercars' credit, they made themselves very relevant with the success of the E-Series racing.
TCR did have an E-Series as well.
You wouldn't know.
No, you wouldn't, because they don't have a big social media following, and it wasn't on TV. So, but they did have one.
But so unfortunately, they started gaining some momentum, and they've probably come off worse out of this pandemic situation. Well, they've sort of dropped off the radar a bit. But how's the release of the new TV lineup for the 7 deal they've got? This is the biggest. This was bigger than the release of the whole TCR thing. They've got a fleet of like 9 people there.
Well, I don't.
Interesting line. But I'm going to throw a bit of wood on the fire here, make a bit more smoke, because there's a smoking gun here, right? Okay, there's something going on here. Jessica Dane.
Yeah.
Part of the whole deal.
Well, so background in media and presenting and.
Is that? Yeah, but okay. I've been noticing a few things. As soon as I saw Jessica involved, I like Jessica. Great girl. Got a big future in motorsport. Got a pretty handy person to sort of take after the dad.
Good mentor.
Learn a few tricks. But with 7, I've noticed, Jesus, they're covering a lot of supercars. I've never seen 7 before till just recently. All of a sudden, Sunrise, mentioning it on news reports, results. I don't know, what's going on here? I mean, Tennis supposedly got the free-to-air deal for now. I'll tell you what, here's what I reckon. I reckon 7 are going to do a deal and be the free-to-air partner if Foxtel go again. And looking at this lineup of presenters, and they've got this Abby Way, which apparently she's quite a renowned journalist with NRL and AFL.
So she's a network person?
Yeah, she's like the Jessica Yates, the network. Mark Breda. And Breda's good. He's an asset, no doubt about it. Got a great following. Loves motorsport, understands the sport, so he's really good. Got a few other regulars. Matt Nolte's got a gig. I like Matt. He's
best commentator in Australia, mate.
Yeah, he's good. Very, very underrated. I like it. They've got Molly Taylor in there. Molly Taylor's, at least she knows that she's a bloody good steerer herself, but she knows the sport. So it's a pretty big lineup there that they've got. And I don't know, it's for the ARG group. So this is covering S5000 and TCM when they do run with them, and TCR and all the rest of it. So as a group, but I don't know, is this the group that's going to be following if they do a deal with Supercars? Is this a new lineup?
Well, that looks turnkey, apart from expert commentators, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, well, they got Jack there. I mean, he obviously knows a bit about racing.
Yeah, he does.
But, you know, Jack does a good job on the mic.
Very good.
I think he does a good job. But
mate, you're right. If ARG do a deal and buy Supercars, or Supercars go to 7, that looks pretty turnkey.
Yeah.
With people that have worked with Supercars before, there's definitely something going on.
It just seems.
I don't know what's happening besides, but there'll be a network deal there'll be a deal done somewhere.
Well, 7 have placed 2 of their own people, so it's very Fox orientated. They've put their own people in, and like I said, they seem to be pumping their tyres up a lot.
They've got to want to put motorsport on TV. The big problem I see with all this is, with Victoria locked down and 90%, 95% of all the cars for that. For the ARG
TCR
group,
cars,
and the S5000s, it's all in Victoria.
They're all Gary Rogers.
So they've got everything they need except car racing.
Yeah.
So
that's going to really damage them.
If there's a chance of a merger between TCR or an acquisition from ARG to do a deal with Supercars, that it could be on the cards, and I don't think there can afford to be two shows in town, mate.
No,
there can't be.
Neither.
It's just going to keep going till one person runs out of money. So the smart thing would be to do is get everyone in a room and sort out a deal.
Well,
sort a deal out. There's probably one bloke I know would take the reins and get that deal done.
Yep. Well, they got a pretty handy backer for the ARG group, so I believe. So do you reckon they're going to make a play for it, for Supercars?
Well, they've made a play before, and they're probably in a better position now to make a play.
Yeah. It's interesting though, isn't it?
I just think it's like this. ARG have got everything except you need stars in the cars.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 5 or 6 drivers there that people will follow.
Yep.
They don't have that. Like their commentary team's got more of a profile than their drivers. No disrespect to the people driving their cars, but they're washed up guys like me that have, driving around in TCR cars. There's a couple of young guys. They don't have the star power.
Yeah. They push it. They push it pretty heavily towards the this is the category for all the young drivers to come into. That's all frog
shit, mate. It's 400 grand, 450 grand to run a TCR car. It's no cheaper than Super2. It's the same amount of races.
Yep.
It's a race car that burns petrol tyres and brake pads. That's just what it costs. That's all frog shit.
Yeah. But but my point being is, you're right with the costs, but you still need name brands in there to hook it in, hook people into
simple.
Watch it.
How did Craig Lowndes become famous? Because he raced Peter Brock.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
How did Chaz Mostert become famous? Because he raced Craig Lowndes.
Yeah.
You got to have something.
You got to have
continuity and pass the handle down, and that's.
Yeah. You got to have a mixture of both.
You got to have the history. And the other thing, that people aren't going to go to a racetrack in Australia and watch those TCR cars drive around and think they're cool, because they're not. They sound like shit and they're not exciting to watch.
In your opinion.
Huh?
In your opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah. And probably most of the other people that go and watch them.
Yeah. I think the racing will get better with them, but the TV deal is going to help them. I still.
Where are they going to race?
It's like I said, and Supercars media doing their telecast for them as well. It's got to lift them up. So.
The smart thing is to get a deal done. I know. Smart thing is to save a lot of money.
Yep.
Don't have a war. Let's have a.
Anyway, if it does,
let's have a peace treaty and sort out a deal. TV deal, car deal. Let's just tidy it up and.
If it does, we look like geniuses, and we heard it here first. So there you go. Yeah. Hey, enough on that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, enough. Yeah, buddy. I don't talk about that anymore.
What are we on to
now? One person that we have neglected on this show as well, Oscar Piastri. You've met Oscar. He's been out here to Norway a few times.
Yeah, I've done some coaching with Oscar.
Yeah, currently running FIA Formula 3.
When he won the championship last year, we covered him a bit.
Yep. Anne Neal, Mark Webber's partner, is actually managing him. I know Anne Neal. She used to run Formula Ford in UK when I was racing in the early 90s. Really, really good operator. Helped Mark out a lot with his deals. They're helping him out over there. This guy looks like he's got some talent. Currently leading the FIA Formula 3 follow the Formula 1. So currently leading the championship. Finished second in Hungary.
Yeah, another 2 second places. So what they do, they qualify, they have a race, then they reverse the top 10.
Top 10, yep.
Maybe Supercars could do that instead of having goofy tyres.
Yeah, maybe.
Seems to work.
Yeah. But he raced his way forward.
He raced his way forward, got a second place.
That's good. Yeah.
Scoring points while other guys are having problems. So, good lead in the championship.
And that was after, first in both the Austrian rounds as well. So, so he's...
one straight out of the bat.
Austria was first and fifth in the next back-to-back race. And leading the championship 62 points to second place.
A lot of personality too, mate, because they were locked down, and I don't know if you follow his social media, but he was locked down in a hotel, and they weren't allowed out to get food or whatever, so he put up on his Twitter account that he's hungry and he can't get out, and made a bit of a joke. Next thing, everyone got food. So,
really?
Yeah, all the other kids was not scared to say anything. So, but not Oscar.
Good on him. No, but I mean,
it's
a big effort, because FIA Formula 3 and Yuck Jack Doohan, who we interviewed before, is in there as well.
Yeah, he's in there.
She's full on. Like, this is big deal, and all the F1 teams have got involvement with teams within there as well. And if you're leading that championship, that means, and winning races, man, you're on your way.
Yeah, rookie too. So
you're on your way. That's pretty good. Liam Lawson as well, New Zealander as well. Liam's another one, very talented. He got first. He won the second race in Austria.
Round one,
so he's he looks like he's pretty sharp. Another fast New Zealander.
And look at what Jack Doohan's doing. He's had a real bad run with a couple of DNFs and car problems, but like all his teammates are slow as well. So
he's a bit of
I reckon there's a bit of team trouble there.
Yeah. And he's learning tracks, and big ask. Big ask.
You don't have to be far off to be that far back. It's pretty cutthroat. But the trend is all those cars in that team aren't doing very well.
Yep, absolutely. MotoGP kicked in last night. My favourite, our favourite. And especially after our Mick Doohan interview, which went really well. Yeah, it went good, and everyone knows we're massive MotoGP fans as well. So great race, Marquez. Seriously, never ever before have I seen someone in motorsport so loose. The guy's so talented, like that. When he's dropped the thing down, and how he keeps doing it, he digs his elbow in and picks the bike back up, keeps lock on, so the thing picks itself back up through the gravel trap. This is why he's leading off the gravel trap, drops back to bloody near last, gets through, and then gets up to third place before he bins it, and looks like he's done a bit of damage.
Yeah, so he's injured now.
Seriously good. Like, man, the guy's. How much talent, and bravery.
A lot of bravery, but
maybe a bit too much.
Mate, when you start getting hurt, it's seriously hurt.
And that's what Mick said, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Mick said. He had to call time out.
Yeah.
Too hard.
So,
Jack
Miller fourth.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it was good.
Good result for him, and only just behind Dovizioso. So for Jack,
he said he had a bit of a numbness in his arm, or problem with the feeling in his arm. So
that's good. That'll make Ducati very happy that they made the right choice in putting him in. So that's massive. And
Quartararo's first win. You're a bit of a fan of him.
Oh, mate, I reckon
You called him early in his career, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought when he just first stepped out of Moto2. Yeah, I said, mate, this guy's good, but he's got Marquez's talent, but more controlled. He seems to control it a little bit more. He'll back it off a little bit before he bins it. But just as much talent. So yeah, seriously good. But I've been following Jack Miller's account a little bit on social media, and him and Toby Price have been lunaticking it around on bike. Yeah, Jesus,
those two. Did you see that jump?
I know. Toby Price. We got to get Toby Price on the show.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of requests for that, actually.
Yeah, we got it. We'll get him on. You know him.
Yep. All right.
Grab him by the arm while he's kicking around, doing nothing. Grab him before he does injuries to himself, because he's doing some lunatic stuff at the moment. So, yeah, we'll get him on real soon. F1 as well. F1 racing, same old. Good that they're back racing, but same cars out in front.
And the controversy over the pseudo Mercedes.
Yes.
So what
doesn't that
got
go to
protested
show you?
again?
Yeah.
Got protested again. So Lance Stroll doing a great job, though.
Yeah.
But are they just gone and bought a Mercedes?
Well, that's it. And to bring anyone at speed that's not an F1 fan, basically the new Racing Point car is, by all accounts, when you look at the photos, a carbon copy of the 18 Mercedes.
Yeah.
So you know, or 19 Mercedes.
What's the problem with that anyway?
I don't think there's any problem, and maybe this is what F1's got to look at, is being able to, for the main guys, to actually supply cars.
Well, they do that with engines, and you've got to design a certain amount of car yourself. But I don't know, mate. It's
just
been protested again. I haven't seen the result of that one.
Oh no, there's too much going on. And if this is an indication to keep things simple, there's all these protests about engines now. The Ferrari engine being last year, they said all of a sudden they've dropped back because they reckon they found something was going on with their engine. And you know, sometimes if you make things too complicated, too technical, it becomes too hard to regulate it. So sometimes it's simple is better in two facts. It's cheaper. It's also easier to regulate. When you get too how would you regulate a Formula One car?
Oh, I don't think
How would you do it?
You need smarter people that's in the teams, and they're not.
Someone from NASA.
Don't have them. It's
it's too out of control.
They're going to outsmart every time. But
yeah, it's unfortunate when you see that, and then you see MotoGP. I think that's why we're always fans of MotoGP, because it is still they've got technical stuff going on there, but they're still more raw. It's still rider. At the end of the day, the rider probably has still a fair.
He's in control of the electronics file.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the F1, I just, you know, when it rains, it's good fun to watch, and when it's dry, it's boring as batshit.
Yeah, racing's rain's an equaliser for sure. Okay, dude. This is going to be so cool, because this is and I've always wanted to do this because I'm a huge fan of these American barn find shows. I sit on YouTube for hours and watch it. You know, we're doing our own.
Unreal.
I found a barn find.
You've just taken this show to a whole new level. Look at all the audience we're going to get.
It is so cool. So anyway, I won't prompt too much of it.
Okay.
Let's jump in the truck, and we're going to head around, and I'm going to show you something very, very cool. You know, since we've been doing this show, you know, one of the coolest things about it?
What's that?
We just get to do things and see things that you wouldn't normally.
Out
of the blue stuff, right?
So, is this guy a fucking grass dealer or something? What are we doing here?
Well, this is one of those moments, right? This is one of those moments where we're going to do something really cool, and very few people get to see, feel, do, and touch. Right?
Well, this is a mystery tour for me, mate.
This is a tour.
I don't know what we're doing, but you haven't led me wrong so far.
No. You ready for this?
Yeah.
It took a while. It took a bit of digging. But this is something really cool. Have a go at this.
Holy fucking, you're kidding me, mate.
This is your barn find. You know how we watch all those cool...
Oh, mate, I know you.
Yeah, those cool shows.
Well, you think you're Richard Rawlins, don't you?
I watch those, and you do the same. You jump on YouTube and watch all these cool shows about those dudes that go all around America, and they find barn finds,
so
things that have been stuck in.
You just haven't found this and chuck shit all over it?
This is a genuine barn find car, mate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't think you had those talents in you.
No.
You wouldn't see Mark Scope unveiling something like this, mate.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
No.
But I'll tell you what.
That's pretty good.
I'll tell you what. This is so cool because it's an XA GT Falcon Coupe, hardtop.
Yeah, I can see that.
Really cool story behind it. So I'll fill you in a bit. Come, let's have a look. Have a dig.
Look at that.
Yeah, no.
Is I'm not sure. Or a rat?
I reckon it's a bloody big rat that's gone up there. It's pretty big. Now, it's a one owner, right? Gordon. Who unfortunately just recently passed away, so he's no longer with us. So we're doing this show for you, Gordon. Now, Gordon bought this brand new. It's a 73, 351 XA GT. He bought it brand new. They only made 250 of these all up in both sedan and two-door coupe models as well. Now this is one of only 3 that were done in this particular colour.
The 70s orange?
Yeah, well it's actually called, believe it or not, it was McRobinson's Old Gold.
Is that what it was called, eh?
McRobinson's Old Gold.
My nan's kitchen was that colour.
Yeah, pretty retro, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Robinsons were actually a chocolate company, right?
Oh, I gotcha, yeah.
Eventually got bought out by, I think they were established in Ballarat, but they eventually got bought out by Cadbury.
Right.
And so this is one of only 3 they did in this particular colour. And Gordon, when he saw it in the Ford showroom, went, "I'm going to have that." He's always wanted it. he was in his 30s, Gordon. Was actually a telecom engineer.
Okay.
So telecom being what Telstra is now.
Yeah. Hook your phone up.
Yeah, that's it. He was a technician and a daily driver
Unreal, mate.
of this. Yeah, so he was...
Not too much aero.
No, it's got 4 wing.
That's the wing they need for the supercars now, just that.
You're right.
We should take a picture of that and send it to Supercars, because that's all they need.
Well, that's exactly right. Get rid of it, because that's all they put it on here. I mean, it did nothing.
Well,
I mean, you hang
just getting a bit of wheel spin.
Hang your socks off the thing if you wanted to dry them, that's about it. But you're right, that's what supercars should be doing, just for a bit of look goods, but do nothing.
Yeah.
So here we go, we're doing a technical piece already.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
But yeah, it was bought. He bought it in '73.
Yeah.
Into '74, $7,000 new. This thing was. So he's rolled into the showroom with his trade-in, got $1,000 for his trade-in,
and it's got that.
And $7,000. Rolled her out, and he drove it around till 1988, and that's when it got parked up. So, bloody near 33 years, this beautiful, iconic road car has been sitting in a chook shed.
Unbelievable, right?
It was sitting in a chook shed most of its life.
A little bit of surface rust there, but nothing.
It's still in a pretty good nick, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
What's
a bit...
the interior like, mate?
Look, I wouldn't...
Oh, shit.
The door doesn't open, mate. Perhaps we'll go the other side.
He's obviously been to the drive-in, mate. The seat's slate back.
Hang on, we'll go in the other side. We'll try the other door. Oh, there we go.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we haven't got a door handle on the inside there, mate.
You reckon you'd sit in that, Russ?
Nope.
Come on, mate.
You know what, I'm a clean freak, I am, mate. And this is a bit too... Oh, geez, he's got to fit...
Oh, there's a bit of ratchet.
Actually doesn't smell, considering.
Yeah.
The actually all the upholsteries, got the old no leather in here, mate. She's all she's all genuine vinyl.
Yep. I reckon you should sit in there, mate. See what it feels like.
I'm not going in there. Now, now with this dude, I found an original spec sheet.
Oh,
now,
right.
this particular model was what they call the RPO.
Oh, right, I know what that is.
Tell me.
It's when they end of the line, they got all the bits left over, isn't it?
It was a certain production model, RPO 83 they called it.
Yeah.
So it came out with things like power steer, air conditioning.
Oh, it's like an enforcer pack.
Yeah, like an enforcer pack for your Falcon. So that's what it was originally. 4-speed top-loaded gearbox.
Yep.
It's got a 780.
Oh yeah.
CFM carburetor, which wasn't standard. So when you look at all,
big carb.
But look at all the specs. Like we're talking a 1973 model car here. I'm looking at the switches here.
Ticked all the boxes.
Yeah. It's got all the electric windows, power windows, sports road wheels. Now this is the big one. Had an 8-track radio tape player.
You'd still have some of them, wouldn't you?
8-track. I think I
you would have had one of them in your panel van, Russ.
No, I was a little bit later. I had tapes.
Tapes?
Yeah, tapes.
Did you used to
spit the things out.
Did you used to make your own mixtapes when you're on the road?
No, mate. I was an Eagles and AC/DC fan.
Oh, okay.
In the panel van days.
You and Bobby Smith in the panel van with the Formula Ford on the back.
That was me. Had a front spoiler.
Yeah. What's the front spoiler look like?
Yeah. Well, mate, she also with the 780.
Little air dam's gone there.
Oh, has it been ripped off?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look under the good part here. And there she is.
There you go.
Now, it is all original engine, never pulled out, never pulled down. Like I said, with this RPO 83 package, had the 780 CFM carburetor on it. H&M headers.
Yep.
Standard H&M headers. So it had a little bit, usual 351, 4V heads. So it had a little bit of bolt-on stuff that came part of the package, but like I said, you got all the comforts, like the air conditioning pack, everything else that went on with it, the spoilers, tinted side rear glass.
Oh yeah, you'd need
just
that.
for a bit of comfort and a bit of look good. Electric aerial, passenger side mirror, American racing wheels and mud flaps. There you go, that was all part of the package. And this one, where he bought it from was actually Spring Hill, Ford dealer up in Queensland.
Right there, I'm busy.
Yeah, so local car, and there was only 120 made, dude.
Well, what's happening with this, Russ? You haven't bought this thing, have you?
No, mate. I think she's going to go a bit above what I could afford, mate.
You reckon?
Yeah, she's going to go for a few dollars.
What do you reckon?
This is about to go up at Gray's Online Classics. Car
really?
auction. Yep.
Oh,
She's
okay.
going on there, so anyone can actually jump on there and have a go at buying this. But what a cool thing. I mean, what do you reckon, dude, with these sort of things? Because again, watching all those American shows about barn finds, a lot of people don't like to restore them. They clean them, get them running, but keep the natural patina.
I think that's what you got to do, but you might have to get a bit of the rat shit and stuff out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Clean it up a bit, but
that's what they do.
It's a time capsule, Russ.
Well, that's
original car.
That's the two things about it, and I'm sort of 50-50 because do you just clean it up, get the engine running, clean it all out, fix what has to be fixed, but just leave the natural paint, polish it up as good as you can. If there's rust in it, leave it, or do you go the full resto?
No, I think you got to leave it, but you know, it would be a shame to fully restore it because it's a bit like an archaeological dig, isn't it? Like
it is. I've never got off on that, but I can see why they get excited when they dig around and find some dinosaur bones or something.
Stuff.
And that's what this is. It's a dinosaur that needs to be resurrected, and that's a cool thing
you
about
see that a bit, you know, when you're driving along and see some old stuff. When you get out west a bit, you see some old stuff in some sheds and.
Yeah, I mean, but how do you know? I mean, for 33.
That's an original windscreen. Hey, look at this, mate. World Expo '88 was on the registration label.
Oh, well, that's when he parked it up, dude.
Yeah.
1988, and you know what? You know why he parked it up?
I remember going to that expo and getting quite drunk in the German beer hall, but it was quite good fun.
Hey, you know why he parked it up? Because insurance prices, premiums for this style of car went up through the roof.
Oh, okay.
Went nuts. So Gordon said, well, look, I'm not going to pay that. I'm just going to park it up for a while until I can afford to insure it at that. 33 years later, it never saw the light of day. So it got parked up, and that was it. So the whole reason was because the premiums were too high. Geez, aren't we getting to that stage nowadays too?
Well, even your rego's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's and like I said, it spent more time parked up than it had on the road, which is incredible. But mate, it's I can't get over it. This is the first time.
Right, the orange.
It's the first time I've done this. You know, actually found something like this.
Well, you've done a good job, Russ.
It's whoa.
Oh, what's happening there?
She's got a bit of air conditioning in the boot there.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's an easy fix.
No, a little bit of rust in the boot, which you'd expect. You know, where the water's been sitting.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
No, but I mean, it's so straight. A bit of a ding on the other side where young Gordo's run out of talent and dented it. But apart from that, it's she is straight as.
I wonder how long it'll take to get running.
I actually pulled the dipstick out earlier and must have been using castor oil because because the oil looks really good. And mate, I wouldn't be surprised if you flush the tank out, put some fresh fuel in there.
Fire straight up.
Yeah, make sure the fuel pump was working, whack some fuel in the carburetor, should probably fire up, you know. Yeah. I don't know whether dry, the brakes would obviously be a bit sus on it.
You might have discovered a new...
Oh, this is just... I love this sort of stuff.
We need to find some more.
We need to get... Yeah, actually, we should. Put the word out.
Put the word out.
Anyone's got
something, we'll go and have a look.
I've heard stories of barns like this with just rows of cars, but you know, it's funny, people tend to keep them for themselves, and I think the owner of this actually didn't know what he had when he parked it up, and actually just found out by chance that it's actually quite valuable. But it was almost going to be sold with the property, like giving it with the property, because he didn't realise the value of it. So best part about this, mate, that someone will pick this up on the Gray's online auction, and they'll either restore it or bring it back how it is now in its natural patina and get it running, and it's going to be a survivor, which is the most important.
Survivor car.
Can't let these...
That's the name of your new show, Survivor Car.
Survivor Car.
With the Enforcer.
That's it.
Yeah. You should do that.
But this is important. It's important to keep these things going, isn't it? Because this is the history of Australian motoring.
It's a bit like you. You're a bit old and worn out. It's important to keep you going too, mate.
I'm still going. Plenty of people try and kick me, but you know, pull the plug. But I'm still going. But it's true, though, isn't it, dude?
That's awesome. Mate.
I mean,
you never cease to amaze me, Russ. Just when I think you've run out of ideas, you come up with something like this. Unbelievable.
No, this is cool. And like I said, getting this back on the road where it should be. And for people to see and enjoy, proper cars, dude. We just won't see this era again.
No, proper metal.
I mean,
Chrome bumpers.
I mean, where else, mate? Where else would you sort of get this sort of car? And you've seen the engine, right? And you can walk into a dealer and go, I'm going to buy 351 V8 and 4-speed and all these accessories on it, and you roll out and you're the coolest kid on the block. Like, I mean, it's just, we'll never see this era again, you know, of these style of cars that were affordable to the common man. There he was, Gordon, telecom worker, just a normal everyday guy, saved his pennies, went out and bought it. You know, imagine trying to go out and do a similar thing. You're spending 150, 200 grand, aren't you, some European car, and it's just another car.
Well,
this thing's cool, you know.
It is cool. And we've gone from cars like this to people doing that now with four-wheel drives, basically, haven't we?
Basically, that's it. Yeah, the four-wheel drive, but it's not the same, though, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not the same. It's an unfortunate part. We won't see this again, but at least we can enjoy what is left.
It's a good one, Russ.
It is good. Yeah, I love it, dude.
I can't wait till this thing goes to auction and see what it makes.
Mate, I reckon there's going to be a Ford fan out there that will want this thing, and
a couple of $100 grand there, wouldn't there?
You'd have to be getting up close to that.
I reckon.
Yeah, and worth every penny.
Yeah.
You know, this is the real deal.
Well, this is art. It's no different than having a nice painting hanging on your wall. It appreciates in value. So
exactly right. Oh well.
Maybe we can do a follow-up when it goes and see who the new owner is and see what they do with it.
Yeah,
that'd be an awesome part.
Whoever the new owner is, hope they get in contact with.
On the new show.
Yeah. All right, dude, let's get back to the studio.
All right, mate. All right, you've done it again.
That was cool, eh?
I don't know how you find this stuff, mate.
It's good, isn't it? It's pretty good. I mean, you know, and don't forget, everyone as well, that goes up Friday.
Is it this Friday on the Grays Online?
This Friday.
Classic Car and Bikes?
Yeah. Classic Cars and Bikes, Grays Online. So that'll be going up. And so anyone that's interested in that, make sure you jump online. And
see who buys it, won't it?
Yeah, it will be.
I wouldn't mind following, like I said, I wouldn't mind following the progress of that car. That'd make.
If whoever the new owner may be, keep in contact with us. And when you, if you get it running, give us a call. We'll come out and show it to us. Yeah, we'll put it on one of the shows. So. That's really good. Yeah, so make sure you create Grays Online classic cars and bikes auction. Friday should be going live, so jump on that. And and if anyone else has got something out there that's classic, collectible, that style of thing, you know, and that
something unique.
Yeah, something unique, you know, as well. Race cars with history, and they're deciding that maybe it's time to part with it and go to a new home and do something else in life, or get something else.
Take a look at it, eh?
Yeah. Give us a yell or drop us a line, and we'll send it through the boys at Grays and see what we can do.
Get it on the show if it's that good.
Yeah, if it's a good one, we'll get it on the show and before it goes live.
Cool.
Now we're going to continue on with the theme. Again, thanks to Grace, they got us a couple of great roadies. This is yin and yang, chalk and cheese, right? Completely two different cars, all right?
Like you and Mark.
But cool ones. Yeah, like me and Mark. You wouldn't get too many that's different than that. So we're behave. So we're going to go out and have a steer of these two classics again, because we had so much fun when we had the XU1 and the GTR race cars. We've got a couple of roadies here, but two completely different ones, but just as cool. So come on out.
Righto.
Follow us, guys, and we're going to go out.
Russell Ingall Mystery Tour continues.
It does.
All right.
Let's go do some laps.
Oh, look at that, Russ.
I know. Well, mate, we've got two completely different ones here. You know, we've got an XU1 Torana, and we've got a beautiful Bentley, but we'll get to the Bentley in a minute.
Okay.
But following off from the last two that we did on the show, which was the two race cars, the XU1 Torana and the GT Falcon, mate, we thought we'd do it again because great response, and our friends from Grays have provided us with a couple that are coming up in their online classic auction.
Well, first of all, I love the colour.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lime
green metallic.
I got
got lots of things painted green, and I love green cars. But the cool thing about this, you know who I got a message from after the show?
No, tell me.
Bob Morris himself.
Oh, from the Torana?
Yeah, and he said that car still holds the lap record for a touring car at Warwick Farm.
Is that
so
right?
That's pretty cool. So
it's good that Bobby Morris.
Real
G'day,
mate.
Bobby, too.
He's ever in Queensland, we'll have to get him on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he'd have a few stories.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. And it was so cool to drive that car, but we got basically the road-going version.
Yeah, well, that's...
Of the race car, because that's what it is. 1172, LJ Torana GTR XU1. Absolutely immaculate.
Original.
Numbers matching engine, gearbox, everything. Like this is, I've never seen a more original.
Okay.
It's just perfect. Original paint. Adelaide car, Adelaide delivered to my hometown.
Oh, okay. So you've got a bit of attachment to
Yeah,
this.
it
So I
is.
suppose you're going to want to drive it.
Well, it comes down to the same thing. No offence, dude, but you know, size-wise.
All right.
Size-wise, I think I'm better off in the LJ, mate. But
okay, mate.
Funny you should say that, because I have got a bit of a fond attachment for the Torana, because my dad, and I remember driving it when I was learning how to drive, and used to roar around the forecourt, as they called it, around his Shell service station in Port Adelaide. He had a white GTR Torana.
Okay.
Immaculate thing it was, and to this day I wish I still had it. But yeah, had a white one. Exactly, LJ. Unfortunately, it wasn't an XU1, but I tell you what, they don't make them like these anymore, do they?
They don't, mate. Bit of Aussie history right here.
Yep.
I just want to go for a ride.
Hang on. Have a look at the engine, mate. Let's have a look, because
I can't believe how good this car is.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Because I popped the bonnet on this earlier, right? You ready?
Yeah.
Have a look at this.
Oh, she's a glamour, mate.
Have a look how original and immaculate it is. Like, it's just perfect. Like, usually the air boxes, you know, get a bit ratty because the plastic,
Yeah, it's all in good nick.
Everything is just absolutely beautiful. Triple Strombergs on it.
What's that, 202?
202, yep. I can't get over how beautiful. Like this, it looks like it's just rolled off the showroom floor. Like, have a look at it.
It's been well maintained and looked after.
Oh man, it's just, you never see something in this good a condition, considering it's a 72 model car. I mean, she's been on the planet for a while.
It's amazing how these things just keep turning over too. Like, you know, you'd think that someone had something like this, they just want to hang on to it forever, but obviously they get into something else and want to move it on and do another project. Or
you know what, dude? I think this is the cool thing about classic cars, is that the people that buy and restore these cars, you know, they like to share it. I think it gets to a stage where they either want to do it again, or, you know, they just go, well, the time's come, I want to share something like this with someone else, you know, and they enjoy seeing it. Because anyone that's going to buy this is a motoring enthusiast, someone that's, you know,
well, they're going to look
like
after
this
it,
area,
they?
and they're going to look after
you're
it.
passing it down.
Of course they are. Yeah, for sure.
Handing on the responsibility of having it.
And that's the cool thing, because you get another family, another generation that get to enjoy this era of motoring, which is probably one of the best eras ever. I mean, the 70s, look at the cars that came out of the 70s era. You know, when you look at the Toranas, you look at the Falcons, you look at everything else.
Culture?
Yeah,
it's
it is.
Aussie culture, isn't it?
This is Australia.
And this is preserving Aussie culture.
This is Australia in a steel shell.
And
Like,
a Hills
you know.
hoist and a...
Yeah, it is, yeah. Hills hoist.
Victor Mower.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. It's just a beautiful thing, and like I said, this has been a while between drinks. I'm going to drive this one, dude, because like I said, bit of emotional attachment there with my dad's GTR. So we've driven the race car. Let's go out and have a couple of laps, a couple of nice quiet laps in a road-going version XU1. Again, don't get to do this very often. All right, dude.
Let's reiterate.
Let's hit the loud pedal.
Now, you know the most dangerous things about these cars, Russ?
Yeah, mate.
In summer, when you were driving it, you didn't have your t-shirt. You just had no shirt on.
Yeah, normally.
Because you had no aircon.
Especially in
back
Adelaide.
In the day.
Yeah.
The sun used to get on these bastards and heat up, remember? Then you'd put it on and do your seatbelt up and it'd burn the shit out of you.
How true. Yeah. You sort of like...
You would have had that driving around Adelaide in your panel van.
Well, you had
your arm out your window.
You had a tramp stamp on the side of your... on the side of your... we good?
These your doors are nice and solid, isn't it?
Oh, yes, right. I remember, mate. I remember this now. Steering wheel.
What, 2 pumps? Kick it?
Oh, the steering wheel's
like that.
It's not in the centre. Like
No,
the
Geminis were like that too.
Well, the steering column, you got the rev, the tacho and the speedo, and she's basically going straight through the tacho.
Yeah.
She goes down there. So obviously there was a bit of an issue fitting the steering box in. Have a listen, dude. No?
Similar to the race car, just not a bigger cam, eh?
Bit of a cam in it, isn't it? Listen to that. Oh, they're so cool. You sort of forget how small these are.
It's like an Australian version of the Camaro, wasn't it?
A little version.
Yeah.
Got a bit of temp in it. Yeah. Yeah, we are. Tell you what. Come on. just like that race car. Just like the XU1 race car, she was a bit, whoa, Jesus. I think she's still a bit cold, mate.
Needs a bit of a clear out, mate.
Yeah, I think we might
Blow
have
the
to
cobwebs out.
Yeah.
That was something you used to do. I remember my dad always saying, oh, I'll take the car for a run and blow the cobwebs out.
That was probably where the saying came from.
It was. You used to go, like the car had been sitting around the shed,
Yeah.
you'd take it out.
Oh, yeah. Well, she probably hasn't been driven for a while. So she's probably been stored a while. I'll tell you what, you can feel the difference.
Oh, watch out for Noel, the model from Mudgee.
You can probably tell the difference, I reckon, with the race car.
Yeah.
With those wider tyres. This one rolls around a little bit more.
Oh, there she goes, barking it. Oh, a bit of IFL, mate.
No ABS, no ABS on this. Oh, she needs a bit of a clear out.
Yeah, she does. Oh, there she goes, she's coming alive.
There we go, she's coming on.
What's it like compared to the race car? A bit more understeer, is it?
Yeah, definitely the bigger wheels. You can tell this is softer in the suspension, like way softer.
Feel a bit softer in the rear, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, the race car wasn't a bad thing, I can tell you.
Oh yeah, look at the body roll compared to the race car.
Yeah, definitely feel you're on just roady tyres now. I'm leaning, I feel like I'm on a sailing boat.
Oh, that's nice, right?
Oh, the steering, dude.
The lost arm of the heel toe.
I'm getting arm pump.
Let her rip, mate. Oh yeah.
5,000. Hold on to her. Oh, do you like that, dude?
Love it, mate.
Mate, the steering is so heavy. Oh, now she's coming alive. I've got a bit of engine temp now. She's cleared.
Starting to clean up.
Yeah. That's better.
That's good, mate.
Yeah, that's good, though.
What a lovely car. Oh,
Beautiful car.
someone's gonna end up with something pretty cool.
It's going to be a lucky owner that walks away with this one.
Oh, it's just clean and original, isn't it?
So nice. Jeez. Got a few veins coming through trying to steer it. But this is how it was. You know, we're so spoilt nowadays with everything power. Isn't it good to just something raw like this, you know?
Cool original car, and to drive the race car version and drive this.
Yep.
Geez, well, how do you keep finding this shit, mate?
Mate, it's out there.
Hey?
A
Unbelievable.
lot of people that got cool stuff, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of people that got cool stuff. We're just pretty lucky that we get to, we're getting to drive it.
Unreal.
Have a listen to that cam. Oh, she's not. She like that.
Oh, best ride I've had for a while.
Oh, I enjoyed that, dude.
Good.
But
Good, mate.
we got chalk and cheese.
Okay.
speaking of cheese,
You didn't borrow that off Roland or something, did you?
no, that's something Roland Dane would have, wouldn't it?
I'm sure he's got something like that in his collection somewhere.
Chalk and cheese and wine and cheese. And if you're having wine and cheese, wouldn't you be driving around in a 1963 Bentley Continental, Marwood Park Ward?
Would you? I suppose you would.
Have a go at this thing, mate. Just gaze upon the beauty.
First of all, mate, the colour's magic, isn't it? Yeah, the colour is magic.
Beautiful?
Yeah.
Only 90 of these in the world. 90.
How do you find this shit, bro?
mate, it finds me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Whether it's a deodorant, I don't know. But it keeps coming around. 90 in the world. And here it is. We're standing next to one.
This is a high dollar car, mate.
Like this is as rare as rocket horse. Like this is incredible. Yeah. Such a beautiful design car. Can you believe it? In 1963, someone sat down with a drawing board and designed such a beautiful piece of equipment. And look at the quality. You know, it's just have a gaze, have a walk around, dude. Have a walk around.
I'm walking, mate. I like the fins, like not big fins like American fins, but. You know, it's got a little bit of that to it.
It's a little bit Aston Martin from the back, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely got an Aston Martin feel to it.
It's just...
The front.
It's the right size. It's a, you know, because you can get some seriously big Bentleys. You know, the size is right. It's just every bit of detail.
It's a beautiful, beautiful coachwork.
You know, I just, you know, I like these sort of things. You know, I sort of like classic muscle cars, but when I see something like this, I go, yeah, you know, you could do it, couldn't you? You could own one.
Yeah, why not, mate?
I mean, it's just a nice bit of kit. V8, nice big V8 in it.
These colours are back in fashion.
Mate, I can't get over it.
It's a bit like your dress sense. It's now back in fashion.
Hey, pinstripe seats, mate. They are back in fashion. But have a look inside, like. The beautiful coachwork. Well, it's just lovely.
The Bentleys hasn't changed a lot. Like you get into a Bentley now, they're still pretty similar.
Yeah, there you go. Coachwork by H.J. Mulliner, Park Ward Limited.
There you go. So that's, you know.
Willesden, London. Mate, there it is. I mean, nice little nameplate on there, and it's just, look at all the woodwork. And that's, you know, nowadays you get wood trim in your car, whether it be
proper
one
veneer,
era. Yeah, but this
is
proper. Like someone's hand finished that. You know, someone.
Well, this is a hand built car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it's funny,
pretty incredible.
You know, in UK, in this era, the engineers and designers that worked on these cars, you know, a lot of them were from the aero industry, from the war, and they're just craftsmen. You know that. They just sit down and they take pride in everything they built, and I think that's what was so cool about this era of car is that it was built by precision.
So it was a Hull, built by craftsmen.
It was. They were built, but yeah, this is a little bit more finesse, mate.
Yeah,
a little bit more
of a price tag too. But
do you want to have a look under the hood?
Yeah, why not?
Let's have a look, because usually there's some pretty cool stuff there.
What's happening here, mate?
Huh?
Principality of Monaco.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, how does this work?
Huh? I've got no idea.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, Jesus, side.
It's like out of something out of the Thunderbirds.
How good's that? Okay, so big valve.
SU carby.
Couple of SUs hanging out of each side.
Oh, look at that, nice. Winter,
summer.
Yeah,
yeah, that's nice. Jesus, it's not a lot of room in there, is it?
Well, no. Well, it is really. It's sitting down there pretty low. Look at the headers on the thing.
Yeah, that's pretty tidy. Look how good a condition it's in though. Again, all original.
This is a pretty original car, Russ.
There's yeah, man.
Were you allowed to drive this one?
It's
a high dollar car, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I have had the OK.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, it pulls it back down.
Pulls it back down, mate.
So they don't even have that nowadays.
Well, you don't want to put your paw prints on the Duke, mate.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, well, guess what? since we're in this beautiful...
Because this would have been driven by a chauffeur or something. The guy who owned this car wouldn't have driven it himself.
Yeah, well,
he would have had a bloke that looked after it.
Well, that's what I'm sort of thinking, dude. Considering it is probably a chauffeur-driven car, it'd only be right?
Yeah.
If you drive me around. I got me a cup of tea.
When I was a young kid, mate, believe it or not, I wanted to be a chauffeur when I grew up.
Is that right?
That's what I wanted to do because all I wanted to do was drive cars.
Yeah.
And I thought that'd be the perfect job for me because I just drive cars all day.
Okay, well let me do a bit of a evaluation of you as a chauffeur.
But I know exactly what to do.
Okay, well don't spill my tea.
Yeah.
All right.
Then I used to watch the Thunderbirds.
Okay.
And Lady Penelope and then Parker from the Thunderbirds. You know Parker?
Yeah, I remember Parker.
He was my hero because he got to drive that Rolls Royce round, that pink Rolls Royce. All right, mate.
Okay, we're good?
Now the art of this, Russ, really?
Yeah.
You in the back there should be able to hold your cup of tea and should not be able to spill it.
Okay, all right. I got my tea, mate. We're all good.
All right.
Have a look at.
Oh, we're looking good, mate.
Just pretty quiet, isn't it?
Well, it should be, mate. That's you're sitting in the back, and you've got some. You're a businessman, mate.
Right,
You've got stuff to do.
Well, I should put on my English accent, really, shouldn't I?
Well, yes, you should. Wasn't your dad English?
It was.
Yeah.
I come from English heritage, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, James.
Jeeves. Jeeves.
Jeeves. Okay, Jeeves. Shall we press on there, old chump?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh, this is a nice car, Russell.
It is.
See how I got the car rolling then without any neck snapping?
Oh, Jeeves, you're so smooth.
And the art of driving one of these cars, Russ, is a little bit like driving a racing car in the wet.
Yes.
Nice and smooth.
Oh, nice and smooth. Okay.
Yeah.
Smooth inputs.
Smooth inputs, smooth brake pressures.
That's very good. Mate, it's very luxurious and quiet.
We're off to the Windsor Club.
Ah, yes. Yes, Jeeves, that'll be tip.
Do you like the paper?
No, thank you. No. I'm quite happy just taking in the scenery of Norwell, thank you. It's a very beautiful countryside around Norwell.
I tell you, these seats are good.
Good? Man, it's so smooth back here.
Power steering.
Quiet. I don't think you want to be too tall. I'm not that big, and I'm sort of running out of ride height on the rear, but you know, it's I'd actually this would be quite good going through the English countryside, wouldn't it? Whoa.
Oh, sorry, mate.
You just plugged another gear.
It's got 4-speed automatic.
Is it 4-speed, is it?
Yeah.
4-speed
auto?
It's
quite advanced for its time.
So I'm tipping first gear would have a fair bit of speed in it. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just floating along nicely.
How's the steering? Heavy, light?
No, very light.
Very light?
Power steering, very responsive.
Okay.
Everything's very good.
Hang on. Give the gardener a wave.
He's looking after your estate.
Yes, he is. The Norwell estate. It's very civilised. Quite a bit different than the XU1 Torana there.
Wouldn't it be good to do a road trip in something like this?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable, wouldn't it?
Drive somewhere.
A bit too worried about getting stone chips on it though, from a Kenworth going past. So in 1963, dude.
This is a fairly advanced car for its time.
And it drives like this.
It drives beautifully, mate.
Like you just wouldn't get this anymore, would you? Like,
I've driven a few of the modern cars of these. I've driven the modern Bentleys.
Yep.
And they don't drive that much different, to tell you the truth.
Really?
The Ghost, all those sort of cars.
Yep.
That are made in, Kenny Bull. He's got a lovely collections of Bentleys and Rolls Royces.
Oh, okay.
That he let me have a bit of a run around in. I like how the radio's just right here at right at the driver's tips.
Well, you got all the levers there that are just right at your hand.
Yeah. Should I give it a bit of a bootful? You got how long under your cup of tea there, mate?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I got my cuppa, the English breakfast. Oh, a little bit of detonation there.
Get something boogies.
It's not too bad.
That's 100 k's there, 60 mile an hour.
Well, hang on, Jeeves. But
Mate, she goes all right through here. Look at this.
remember, I haven't got any belts back here. Obviously,
Look at this, mate.
the passengers don't get any belts in 63. Yeah. She gets up all right.
Well, I'll take her through the infield here, mate. See how she handles.
Okay. I'll just put a bit of angle on the two. There'd be a few tons worth here, wouldn't there? Be a couple of ton in weight at least, wouldn't it?
Mate, I could drive this every day. This is an incredible experience.
It's beautiful, beautiful, isn't it? I just can't get over the quality of the finish. Like,
What's it like back there, mate? All right.
it is so comfortable. That's what I mean, dude. Like 1963,
luxury.
they're building vehicles like this. You know, how much progress have they actually made?
Well, they have in some ways, but like
yeah, but in the areas that you really want, you know.
Safety.
Yeah, but have you lost what motoring is about?
It's
about the experience.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It is.
Do you get an experience driving a modern car nowadays?
Well, you don't. You don't. You can't drive them anyway, mate. They're too regulated in the regulations. Over-regulated.
Oh, very nice. Got the ashtray back here too.
Well, you would have had a Durry gun. You would have had a packet of Chesterfields or something, or Players or something, some John Player specials or something.
Oh, I can't get out, dude. You might have to grab the door for me.
Oh no, that's what I do anyway, mate. That's my job.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
just stand there, mate. I'll get you out.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks. You could have cranked up the aircon. I'm getting a bit sweaty back here. Yeah.
There you go, Master Enforcer.
Thank you, Jeeves.
Just let me know when you want to be picked up and I'll be out the front and toot the horn.
Very good of you, Jeeves. I'll head back to the studio. Tip, tip. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. We certainly did. You don't get a chance to drive around two classic cars like that. Now, speaking of classic, and we told you before we're going to have a very special guest on, I want to introduce one of my favourite drivers of all times in the touring car series, and in fact motorsport in general, Mr. Alan Grice. How are you going, Alan?
I've got to give you 50 for that.
No, it's mate. It's very true, and very fitting that we've just jumped out the GTR XU1, because you cut a few laps in some of those babies over the time.
Certainly did, and you are going to give me that old Bentley, aren't you?
Isn't it a beautiful thing?
Magnificent. Yeah,
it's massive. So I got chauffeured around by Paul, and it was very special. Like I said, Alan, thanks for coming on. And you know, one of the good things about this show is we get to do a lot of cool stuff and meet a lot of cool people. And we've done some.
I should have brought my bank manager.
Yeah, who owes who? We did one with Larry Perkins last year, and we get great feedback that people want to hear from some of the true legends of motorsport and what made motorsport great. And we classify you in that by a long shot, you know, because it's not about just going around in circles, it's about personality as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's changed, there's a lot of things changed in motor racing, as you well know, but one of the things that changed is the perception that these days, if you're 30, you're over the hill. And that's, I tell my son and other young blokes, that's not the case. You know, the last time I won Bathurst was 1948. I was 48 years of age. Really? And it was a hot Bathurst, and the young gym jockeys were getting out of the car, jumping in the cold baths and
fell out of the seat.
Yeah, falling out of the seat and getting lifted out of the car.
They still do.
Yeah. When I jumped out of the car after doing a stint or a double stint, my wife's always the first one with a glass of cold water or something, and she sort of winked at me and said, you're not hot, look around you. And you hear all these young blokes. So I carried on.
It's very true. It's true though, isn't it, Paul?
Well, I think it's about being relaxed in the car and been comfortable, you know.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, I think it was at a variety club sportsman's thing or something, I had a talk with Doug Walters, the Australian batsman,
Yeah.
who lived at Dungog, quite near me, Maitland. And I said to him, you know, how do you concentrate for so long to score 100? And he said, you have to turn off. You play and miss, or you play and hit a 4, off.
Switch on.
Walk
switch
away, get a habit. Walk away, when the bowler's up the end of his run, come back, and then a switch to turn on, tap, 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 110%. And again, you hit it for 4, or you play and miss. Turn, it's over. That's gone. That was the last ball. It's the next one that's important. And I modified that to motor racing, where I take one hand off, like going up or down the hill, take one hand off, shake it, take the other hand off, shake it. That's a trigger that I'm now relaxed. And then you all the way up the hill or all the way down the hill. You don't have to think, oh, am I in second? I've got to that all happens
Muscle
automatically.
memory. Yeah.
And then when you get to the top of the mountain, you're ready to go. And if you don't do that, if you're thinking too much, you just sweat, and it's worse than doing 100 push-ups.
Fantastic. Well, they've obviously paid attention. Some of these drivers of the current era might have actually had the sense to go back and look, because I see a few drivers do that. You get Shane Van Gisbergen, for instance.
Yeah.
A couple of them actually do that. So someone's paying attention.
Yes, yeah.
And it must obviously work.
Yeah, well, you know, imagine the intensity and the concentration to score 100 runs in a test match, you know, with the best bowlers in the world and best fieldsmen. A lot of this.
So speaking of Bathurst, your first outing in '68 in a Fiat 124
Sport Coupe, so-called Sport Coupe.
You must have been brave going around Bathurst in a Fiat.
Yeah, with Bill Tuckey,
Yeah.
Romsey Quince.
Wow.
You've got to be able to remember him.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I mean, going from that, actually, I was reading back a bit in your history, and it was good to actually see you come from open wheelers originally.
Yes.
Open wheelers, you're doing the Australian Drivers' Championship.
Yes, yeah.
Which was open wheel cars.
Formula 2.
And I know, and myself and Paul, we always say open wheelers make the best race drivers.
Open wheelers are for
wheeler
shields.
I don't know. I reckon if you steer open wheeler all right, you just can steer anything.
Yes.
I reckon it's a good training ground.
It is.
But big stint coming from that. But you went to Bathurst real early. Like, you'd only actually been racing for a couple of years before
Yes.
you first hit out.
Yes,
at Bathurst.
I the first car I raced was a MGTC, already modified as a race car. And unfortunately, I won the first race at Warwick Farm short circuit.
Yep.
And then with the head size improved, I went to Oran Park and rode it off.
Yeah.
Then I was out for 2 years, saving up for the next car.
But what brought it on? What brought it on the whole racing? Because everyone now is, you go-kart racing, and but back in that day, what was the trigger?
Well, I was into diving, springboard diving, and a bit of boxing and rugby union or rugby league in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I was into sport, but I had no interest in motorsport. I went to see a motor race meeting with a couple of mates at Warwick Farm in Sydney, and I said, I'm going to do that.
Hooked you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one day.
And that was it?
Yeah, that was it. Changed my life.
Yeah.
And I was determined to do it, and I used to get pretty determined.
You have to be in motorsport, don't you? Oh, it's interesting. It's like I said, a lot come up through the kart ranks and that. But I'm always interested to find that out. What is the instigator in getting in? Because it's not a natural path, really. Sometimes in the early days, was it?
And my family weren't into motor cars or any of that sort of stuff either. So.
You went back to open wheelers,
Yes.
Formula 2s, and
Clubman, Elfin Clubman.
is that a case of just racing anything?
Whatever you can get your backside into.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, there was no mapped out plan. There was no chosen path.
Yeah.
It just happened, the things I could get myself into.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's one thing, Paul, I find nowadays, I think people sort of segment themselves into, we're just going to race supercars and nothing else. Nothing else exists. There's a few other drivers to the exception of that, which I reckon it benefits.
Yep.
But they do, don't they? Supercars and they don't look at anything else.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably a bit at what it costs now too, Russ. To just to even go and race your average club car, it's $1,000 a weekend, so I think
but there's opportunities down there for named
you can.
drivers. Just go do it. Just go do it.
The guys I hang around with are all racing every weekend. Anything they can get their ass into.
Yeah.
Yeah, Van Gisbergen's one of the few, like I said. But I reckon that was cool. I reckon it was cool that you just, you've got 4 wheels and engine. You just jumped in the thing and gave it a rep.
Yeah.
Big scene back in Sydney there at that time too, with all the different tracks and Oran Park
Absolutely.
and Amaroo and Warwick
Amaroo,
Farm.
yeah.
That was where the hub of motor racing really was, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And just up the road to Bathurst.
Just up the road to Bathurst, and that's where the action was.
Yeah.
If you look back through all those old racing car news magazines and look what was going on, there was a big scene down there.
Was Bathurst, Alan, was that your, I don't know whether the Holy Grail's an overused term, but that was a draw card for motor racing, is just sure. Bathurst? I know you raced everything and anything, but you had a lot of Bathurst starts. Yeah,
I've said many times, you can win everything all year and come last at Bathurst and be a mug, and you can lose everything all year and win Bathurst and be a hero. That's the importance.
Pretty much sums it up.
It's even in its category, it's more meritorious than the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
Well, just a little note, so I was quite surprised. The 6th most start list is you. Of all time at Bathurst, 26 starts.
You've got to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, to make 26 starts, you've got to be good at what you do too, though, because you don't get that many starts if you're a mug. Yeah,
but you need to be fairly dogged about these things too. I remember I'd run into the next step in open wheeler racing was ANF1, Australian National Formula 1, which is 2.5 litre Brabhams and things like that. And I had no sponsorship to speak of. I had no way to get into one. They were expensive to buy. There weren't many of them. So I looked laterally, and there was a Grand Prix coming up in Singapore. So I got on I went to CAMS and got the name of some people in Singapore who were organising, and they were all good old English chaps, expats in Singapore. Yeah. So I arranged to meet them and showed them a record which is pretty good in Formula 2 cars. And they made an appointment and appointed me to a couple of wealthy Chinese who were starting a motor business, and they were going to launch on the back of the Grand Prix. They sent me back to look at to buy Alec Mildren's owned 2.5 Coventry Climax Brabham.
Yeah.
And they bought that cash and my Formula 2 car as a backup, and I raced it I put it on pole in the Grand Prix and broke a gearbox for the Singapore Grand Prix. Yeah. So you got to get outside the box sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you try everything here and it's not work, you're not going ahead, you've got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, go where they're not.
So I went to where the good old British chaps were.
Yeah. Did you prefer open wheelers to, or again, it was just the race anything, or did you have a preference?
4 wheels.
4 wheels.
Well, 5.
That was it.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, and that was it. So you didn't care?
No.
I didn't have a preference.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I had a while to get my head around touring cars, from open wheelers. I did a majority of that, but I had my head around. I didn't actually like them that much initially. I thought they were lazy, big clumps.
Until you worked out you could make some money doing it, then you loved it.
That sort of changed it a bit. There was definitely more than that in open wheelers. Open wheelers, you spent more than what you earned. But yeah, I think open wheelers, I meant proper race car, really, aren't they?
Yeah, once you get into touring cars, though, open wheelers are for shirtless.
Yeah.
You don't say that when you're in open wheelers.
No.
Now, is that why you liked? Because you did a lot of sports sedan racing, which I reckon was pretty cool. And there was a couple of famous ones. Let me just jog your memory here, right? So there were some pretty cool ones. And when I say cool, I'll take you to the cool one, right?
Yeah.
Which is this one here.
Oh yes.
The Monza.
Yeah.
They were a cool car. Is that why you like them? Because they were sort of a combination. They were sort of handled better than a touring car, but had tons of power.
Oh,
so you had as a touring car with an open wheeler feeling.
That car was probably the best car to turn into a corner that I drove. It would just fire into the corner.
Is that
You
right?
had to be careful not to turn it too hard into the corner. It'd be in over the curve. And then it'd put it down. Well, look at the size of the rear wheels.
Yeah, massive,
Look her up
isn't
and
it?
down.
It's just-
Yeah.
What a cool rig. I remember that plain as day, racing when I used to watch it, you know. And,
Well,
That's what
there's-
they obviously modelled the new Mustang on, Russ. Look at the size of the wing. And
it does actually a bit. Maybe that's where they got it from.
Pat Purcell built that car
Yeah, okay,
for
yeah.
Bob Jane.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I never ever got on with him. We were always in opposing teams and all that sort of stuff. After I drove that for the first time at Lakeside. What a place to take a car like that.
Would have been honking around there.
And I got out of the car and rang somebody to get his phone number.
Yeah.
And I said, Pat, you know, we've not got on over the years, but I just got out of the car you built for Bob, the Monza, which Alan Brown had bought.
Yeah.
And I said, it's the best thing that I've ever jumped into, and I haven't changed anything, because I reckon I was good at sorting a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't do one thing that was excellent, just excellent. And he said, oh, Drew, thanks, guys. Oh, right.
Yeah. Amazing car. I mean, it's just, and it looks good. Like I said, I think it's a bit of a poster car, you know?
Yeah.
As a kid, that was one of your poster cars because it sort of looked good. Now, going to the other end of the scale, I know this was your other one.
Corvair.
The Corvair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a gangly looking thing, wasn't it? But it used to go hard, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it had all Formula 5000 equipment, brakes, suspension,
Is that right?
uprights,
Yeah, engine.
engine and
Rear
transaxle.
engine, transaxle.
So it was F5000 with a body on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So even though it wasn't the most attractive car, it went like hell.
Oh yeah, no, it was a class above what it was racing against.
Is that right?
The category didn't take that into consideration when the rules were formed.
Right, yeah, okay. Oh, well, don't let that get in the way of it.
No.
But it was a good sports sedan racing in that era was cool though, and you did Brocky did a few few rounds in it as well, and it was a bit of a go-to sort of place in between touring car races.
But
Well, it was probably it, mate.
it contributed to it being competitive, because some car would be brilliant power down, you know, and in the wet you'd never get near it because it just kept putting the power on the ground.
Yeah.
Others were brilliant under brakes. Others had brakes that used to fade.
Yeah.
So it was an uneven playing field. Everybody had a chance. And somebody had a tyre contract. You knew that there were 3 circuits that if you had Bridgestones that you'd be favourite, and scrambling at the others were Dunlop and Pirelli and Yokohama. And it used to make the racing like this. Now they're all on the same Dunlop tyre and they're all on the same.
Too locked down.
Yeah.
Too much.
Follow the leader.
Too much same.
Yeah, no. You've got to have. I had put a lot of value in my setting a car up. I could feel what the car was doing, tell the mechanic.
Yep.
He'd decide whether it was shocks or springs or whatever, put it in. I'd come back and say, yes, it's helped it there and there, but it's now won't go in the corner, so you can do something else. Whereas a bloke like Peter Brock, you know, if anybody said he wasn't fast, they're an idiot. He was very quick, but he couldn't sort a car.
Yes,
he used to drive round the problem. If it was understeering, he'd change his
style.
So therefore, it'd understeer more and more and more. His tyres would go off and off and off, and none come and get him.
Yep. Okay.
You know, you get the car. My car was always strong the last third.
Yep.
Because it was nicer on everything.
The important part.
Yeah, the little bits like that, 4 of them on the ground.
Yep.
That's all they are. That's all they are.
Yeah.
And if you get them to work properly, because there's a lot of cars, the way they're set up and the way they're driven, you can almost see the car and almost hear these poor little pieces of rubber saying,
Right.
for Christ's sake, you on the steering wheel, will you stop belting me over the mouth?
Yeah.
That's all you need to go around a corner. The rest is at your feet.
Right. Yeah. You
And the car, and you train the
modulate
car.
that. Yeah. No, and there's probably very few of even current drivers that do know that.
Well, it's a lost art, Russ.
It's something you drum into your drivers, isn't
Unless
it?
they can plug a laptop in and the engineer looks at all the shit, they can't tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
If you cut all the sensors off the cars, they'd all be fucked. Yeah. They wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I remember the first time, I don't know how it came, but I was playing golf and my son Ben was sitting in the golf cart.
Yeah.
He was driving it like this.
Yeah.
I said, mate, what are you doing that for? Peter Brock does this.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
see that all the time here at the school.
Yeah.
People have seen some old picture of Dick Johnson with a heap of bump steer or something. They go out in the school cars and they're wearing the steering column out.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that little patch of rubber saying, for Christ's sake, leave me alone. I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah. So you got, and that comes about having mechanical knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you knew that, you knew you could relate that back into your driving style.
Yeah, but that's not quite accurate either, because if I'm useless practically with a spanner. I walk towards the car with a spanner, the 4 mechanics would tie me up.
Yeah.
But I could feel what the car was, and then I could tell the mechanic what it was doing.
Yeah.
He'd make the changes.
Right. But that's probably not a bad.
And you know what it goes back to, Russ? When Alan first spoke about being relaxed in the car. Because he's relaxed in the car, he can process the information.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
And I always find it interesting because I always classify, okay, he's been one of the best drivers or whatever, but maybe just in that one category.
Yes.
But what I classify as a good driver, and it's like the Jimmy Richards, yourself, that can jump in anything and be quick and use the same philosophy of driving and make anything quick and feeling the edge of the car.
You find that there's a lot of drivers who won't go in the one design categories. Over the years, the one mark, over the years, there's been lots of manufacturers who've jumped in and done that.
Yeah.
And there are some well-known drivers who would not do that because they might get shown up by some little bloke from Whoop Whoop in the same car.
What was the Alpha Sud series?
Alpha Sud.
Yeah. You had everyone in that. There's some hitters in there, but...
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. All right, let's get back to Bathurst, because over your 26 starts, stood in the middle step a couple of times along the way.
Yeah. A few of those.
The 91, you probably weren't expected to win that one.
90?
Yeah, 90 when you're in the official...
We thought we had a real good show because we knew that the Turbo Sierras were turning the boost down.
Yep.
You're not allowed to, but they'd adjust the cigarette lighter or something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they'd rush off, and from a turbo point of view, I don't know mechanically, but I know that sitting wide open, going up that big long hill, generating temperature all the time, flat, in tall gears, they just cooked. They burned themselves to death.
Yeah.
They used to be able to go away and turn it down. We figured if we went, I think we ran that engine to, I think it was 7.8 in 1990.
Is that right?
Yeah, all day. All day. That's the way the engine was built to run there, because only operated up there.
Yeah.
And we ran it flat out, except for the last 20 odd minutes when I was trying to save a bit of gas.
Yeah.
And they would turn their turbos down. They'd come back to us, and then they'd turn them up again.
Get away.
Yeah.
Kept the pressure on it.
And they kept turning them back up, and they one by one to kapoof.
So just attrition, you knew that, drove to it. But even still, with those sort of revs on board, that was with Win Percy. Yeah. And obviously, Win's a very experienced endurance driver. Yeah. And the combination of the two.
And he had some
very good... Everyone expected the Sierras to win, to dominate.
Odds you couldn't get money on them.
Yeah.
But,
was that the most satisfying out of the two, do you think? Because you stood on the podium plenty of times, but...
Yes. I was sort of in the factory car then, and so in some ways the Chickadee car, but that was really the last time that a true privateer won.
Privateer, yeah. Would you? That's what I was asking. Which is more satisfying? Because you were in a factory.
I think the first.
The first
one
because it was a privateer.
Yeah, and it was the first Bathurst to win. So.
Will that'll never happen again? Will it? Privateer winning Bathurst, really? Would it?
I don't think, can't see it.
Well, they're all privateers now, mate, because there's no factory money left.
Yeah, that's very true, isn't it? Yeah. It's quite interesting that the one you nearly got, there was a little bit of controversy along the way. You're actually leading the championship.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about...
There was a mechanic by the name of Jerry Churchill.
Yep.
He was working for me and he built the engine. And anybody that was been so closely associated with me in motorsport knows that I know that the thermostat's in there somewhere. It's got something to do with water, and that's my knowledge of it.
Yeah.
like electrics. I know that generally speaking, that's on and that's off. Not always.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have had the slightest idea.
So to paint the picture, this is 1975. You were leading at that stage. You were leading the Australian Touring Car Championship.
Yes.
Right, and by all accounts, even towards as the end, without those penalties or the ones they disqualified you on,
would have won.
You would have won it.
Yes.
No problem. So it was the thermostat.
Yeah, the thermostat, and I wouldn't have known if it was in there or not. And I didn't. He built the engine.
Yeah.
And somewhere he had a discussion with Harry Firth, and the scrutineers came up after the race. I just won at Surfers, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they said, we want to have a look at your thermostat. I said, mate, go for your life. You know, as far as I was concerned, she was 100% kosher. Because that's what I told him to all the way. You know, we're not going to get caught cheating, because I had Craven Mild. You don't want to get caught fudging with somebody like that.
Yeah.
And the scrutineers went straight to the water pump, and no
Set up.
No,
and that was in the regulation. It had to have a thermostat.
No. The regulation said that you couldn't do anything to the car that would affect its performance or condition of use.
Yeah.
That's exactly the words that were used. I got in and I found out where the thermostat was made, and believe it or not, they made in Hawaii for General Motors.
Yeah.
I got on to the chief development bloke by phone in the laboratory.
Yeah.
And I said, by removing a thermostat, would it increase the performance or the condition of use? He said, no way, no way. I said, would you put that in writing? Of course I will. So I put that in writing, and he signed it, you know, emeritus professor,
Yeah.
with the letter alphabet after it.
Yeah.
I presented that to the hearing, and they said, no. Harry Firth said it would remove a possibility of failure, so therefore the condition of use.
That's pretty, that's reading between the lines.
Coincidentally, Jerry Churchill left and went to work for Harry Firth.
Yeah, there you go, mate.
But the moral of the story is, about 3 months later, he sacked Jerry Churchill because he was unreliable. He couldn't be trusted.
Nice. Okay, that fixed that. Yeah, it's just.
There you go.
Did it hurt? That one hurt though, because that was it.
Oh yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah, the reason that I lost it was that when I appealed, they let me race.
Under appeal.
Under appeal.
Yeah.
And then when they found that I was guilty,
Yeah.
I lost all of those points, which means I couldn't win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I had a couple of wins in the second or something like that, and they wiped all of those points, so I couldn't win it.
Up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. That's a big one too, especially in those days. Like That was it wasn't an easy championship.
No, and we were against two factories.
One thing that I really, when I rang you up and asked you to come on the show, one thing I would be really interested in your feedback from, and something I get asked a little bit personally when I bump into race fans, is, and my own interest as well, is that they talk about the current drivers, right? The current drivers, like they're just so fast and they're on the edge, and you know these guys are so much better, you know. But back in your era when you were racing, right? You pushed the cars to the edge and over, in your opinion, just as hard as what they do now, or in your view, obviously a little bit hard because you don't know what the current car is like, but it's not like you just cruised around, is it? I mean, you were pushing those cars damn hard.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Because I sort of get offended when people say that. Say, no, and this is sometimes, I think some of the current drivers, and I'm not, shoehorning any single category, sort of go, back in then it was easy because they just drove around and just, and I take offence to that, because I reckon guys I reckon they did it harder.
Well, anybody that sits in a car with a helmet on and doesn't think he or she has got a chance of winning the race is in the wrong place. They shouldn't be there. If that's your mental attitude, I might come fifth today, you're Go and play polo.
Find another hobby.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or treat it as a hobby.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It's if you don't think you can win the race, go and do something else.
But the physical, but how you drove those cars, there was nothing left on the table.
There was hardly any brake pads left.
I think that's the
tyres
difference, Russ. You had to drive it fast and on the edge, but have some mechanical sympathy.
Yeah.
The difference is today, you're not going to break the car.
No.
Right. So you don't have to worry about that part.
It was an art to drive fast. And
So you needed two skills.
And not wreck the car.
Yeah.
Well, you had to be so gentle on the gearbox.
Gearbox,
to
you
start.
couldn't.
Yeah.
So you.
And especially at Bathurst. I mean,
Yes.
you know, we've just driven a couple. The last episode we drove one of the XU1 race cars. I'll tell you what, just the steering alone. You know, like I said, they're coming in now and going, oh, that was really hot in the car. Try manhandling one of those things around.
Sure.
Like for, 500 miles.
500 miles, yeah.
And then not go off.
Yeah,
That was
not
the
go
other thing.
off.
If you went off the roads, there's half a chance
all over.
you weren't going home.
Yeah.
Because it was a tree or a thing. And
Yeah.
you look at some of even Amaroo when you used to race, you look at that stop-go corner now.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to get away with that now.
Yeah.
I used to charge in there. And
And what about your NASCAR?
to me, that's awesome.
That's good,
what
isn't
you did in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's a lot of people couldn't adapt from road racing.
Yeah.
And when I went to Charlotte for the World 600,
You just need to clarify what the world's like. The World 600 it's the equivalent of the same weekend as the Indy 500.
I think they start.
Yeah.
I think they
There's
start.
even an Elvis
40.
movie about it.
Yes.
If you watch the movie Speedway,
Yes.
that's all based around the World 600.
It was on TV last week. I sat there on a Saturday and watched it.
But there's I think they start 40 cars.
Yeah.
There would be at least 80 transport, like full truck semi-trailers arrive.
Right.
And they'd be the best 80 in the United States of America.
Trying to make the cut.
And I think they used to knock off 10. That you'd start Tuesday and the slowest 10, put it in the truck,
Yeah, get out.
take it home. Yeah, don't be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they'd whittle them down
Yeah.
to 40. And these are fully professional, crewed teams. They go home Thursday. That's how it was to start.
And you rocked up and made the cut.
Yeah, I was probably, I think I was probably 7/10 or something off pole and 40th or 39th. You talk about competitive.
Yeah.
That's competitive.
It is.
And
You enjoyed it? It was good?
yeah, I enjoyed making the cut.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the Richard Petty, to people, race fans in the States, is sort of 2 steps above God.
Yeah.
That's where he's held.
Yeah, he is.
And he came up to the pole car, the car leading the championship is the first car out.
Yep.
And
On the pit.
on the pit.
Yeah.
And they move around all the time depending on where they're standing in the
point
race.
score. Yeah.
So we were last, of course.
Yeah.
Richard Petty, with his big cowboy hat and his big cowboy boots, walked from 3rd or 4th
All the way
down to 39th.
Yeah.
And he walked in and he said, I want to speak to Al. You're not an Alan over there, an Al. And they say, I said, hello, Richard. Yeah, just call me Richard. Hello, Richard. Good to meet you. He said, want to welcome you here. If there's anything I can do to help you, you just ask. I said, well, as a matter of fact.
How do I find 7/10?
When we look at a NASCAR track, it's one corner there, straight, another corner here, straight.
Yeah.
They call it turn 1, turn 2. So you go in, that's turn 1, through the corner, and 2.
Two's
So
coming out.
they've got 4.
Right.
So I said to him, when I dive in turn 1 and I get down to the bottom of the track, there's the slightest bump there, and it moves me up the track about a car's width, which means I've got to roll out of the throttle, which means I'm slow onto that straight.
Yeah.
What can I do there? What should I do there? I'm thinking he's going to say, put another spacer in the front right, and screw up the... You know what he said? Missed the bump.
Yeah, okay.
Means I went in about 8 inches higher.
Yeah.
Missed the bump, but it didn't throw me up the track. I mean,
Nice. That's pretty cool though. That's cool stuff.
Yeah. No, they're extraordinary. They're the most agricultural things, but
Yeah.
it's hard to get them going, and you've got to have them set up correctly.
Definitely an art form to it. Yeah, I mean, I speak to Marcus Ambrose, quite often about it, and even he says you've got to have the car. It's not something you can drive around. You can be the best driver in the world.
Yeah.
The car's not set up right. She's not going to play.
Yeah. When we went over there, Bob Jane funded it and took for his track for Calder.
Calder, yeah.
And he took 2 cars, and they were built by John Shepherd.
Yep.
Who's one of the most immaculate car preparers, and Graham Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the other bloke?
Yep.
He former world motorbike champion.
Yes, yeah.
Kiwi originally. He unfortunately didn't qualify, and I just got in. But when Bob organised to hire a crew chief that had experienced, and he looked at the cars, and I said, well, what was his name? It had a nickname. So what do you think?
Good old boy.
Yeah, good old boy. And he said, boy, they're real pretty cars.
Pretty cars.
Yeah.
But they ain't race cars.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's fair.
And John Shepherd's standing there and he's going, oh, okay.
Okay.
And he worked on them night and day for a couple of days and got them so they'd...
Yep.
Because the 4 wheels are different.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
The way they're
Different.
cast to camber.
Yep.
But it made the world a difference. I wouldn't have qualified without him.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a cool story to have, especially going around with Australians and New Zealanders and putting a team together. Never happened again. You were the first Aussie.
Yeah.
First Aussie ever.
Well, one of the great things I admired about when I was a young bloke and watched you guys racing was the rivalries. And to me, they were what made me watch the sport. And I either loved a driver or I hated a driver. And it looked like it was real.
I think it's fair comment.
Yeah.
I know that Alan Moffat and his crew and Alan Grice and his crew were rivals from the driver cockpit to the bloke who put the pressure in the tyres.
Yeah, so if they won a race, you weren't running up and backslapping them telling them they were good blokes like you see now, were you?
No.
No.
In a word, no.
No. You wanted to run them over at the next race.
But now, not a problem. Not a problem. When dinners and presentations and things like that, Alan Moffat and I are good mates.
But on the track, she was on.
Absolutely, yeah.
As soon as you went through those front gates.
Give him nothing.
Really?
And expect nothing in return.
And it was all genuine. Like this was this was genuine stuff. Right? Yeah. And that was amongst a lot of competitors against.
Yeah, everybody had 1 or 2, you know.
Yeah.
1 or 2. You had an ally or someone you could rely on.
Yes. Yeah. But now, Moff and I laugh about it all.
Yeah.
You know, and generally have a beer together and enjoy each other's company.
But that's good. You probably because your rivalries is because you probably respected each other that you were competitors. Like
that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's missing nowadays. You know, with today's drivers,
they're all kissing each other's ass and.
You know, I even see because with this great social media thing that the whole world's into nowadays, it surprises me. Like someone wins a race and all the other drivers go, "Oh, well done." I never did that.
No.
Like I was going, damn it! Like next one, you won't win the next one. You know, that's the way I used to leave the track.
You get out of the car thinking how you're going to make the whole package, including yourself, better for the next race.
Yeah, exactly right. Do you watch much of the racing nowadays?
I don't go out of my way to watch it. If I've got nothing else on, I'll watch it.
Yeah, so you're not doing the gardening or something?
Well, it'd be a dead heat between a rugby test and watching a motor race.
Yeah, okay.
I'd probably get more enjoyment out of the rugby test.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, what about, you see it today where, to me, when you watch it, it's over officiated. You've got someone in race control telling you how to drive. Like, you weren't afraid to throw the bumper on someone or get aggressive if you had to, but how did it get sorted out back then?
It was rare that somebody would really get put into a tree.
Right.
It was often that they'd get rubbed up or just squeezed a bit on the way in or the way out.
Yeah.
I don't know of an attempt by any driver to run somebody off the road into the fence, ever in my life. But there's a lot of Rubbins racing. I believed it then, I believe it now.
Yeah.
And the Americans still believe it. Rubbin is racing.
Yeah.
So if you could move the guy out of the way and drive away from him, fair enough.
It's game on.
Yeah.
But if you moved him out of the way
And then blocked him.
and got turned around,
that's
it's
not
your
fair
fault.
enough. That's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not what it has
And that was
been.
a code that everyone understood. It wasn't written down. It wasn't in a rule book.
Correct.
You just knew that.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's what made it good, Russ.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree
Now
more.
you got
And that's what
10
it is now.
pages of bullshit to tell you how you're
Just
going to drive your car.
Yeah, over officiated and hearings, and it's like, and most of that stuff could get sorted out at the back of the pits, and just a couple of blokes would probably get together and go, you know what, yeah, I was a bit rude.
Well, there's not a lot of rubbing now, therefore they don't have a painter, but you need a lawyer.
Isn't that true?
I remember, mate, I completely messed up and nailed Bondi the first year I was driving a touring car. Made a mess of it, turned him round, he was upset, and then, mate, we're at Malala the next weekend.
Yeah.
I was sideways hanging out of the fence like before I even got out of pit lane. I thought, right, okay, that's done. He come and saw me after and said, we're square now. I'm like, okay, good, I got the message. it was all over and done with.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
When we went to Charlotte for the World 600, I was out in free practice. And I looked up, and I was very aware that these blokes are much quicker than me.
Yeah.
And I was very aware how fast we were going. So if somebody did give you a touch-up, it could be all over, put it in the truck. And I looked, going up the front of the back straight, I looked at this guy coming out of the corner behind me, and I've judged, and the straights aren't long, that I'll get up to the straight before him, the end of the straight before him, so I don't have to go out of my way to get out of his road. So we get up there, and this fella's, I don't know how far behind me, he's probably 60 yards, 70 yards or something. We get up there, and I've turned down to turn into the corner, and he's there, and oh, Jesus, and we've just touched, and I've wobbled up the top, and pulled it back down. Got back into the garage, and I saw the number of the car, and I got out of my car, took my hat off, and I went up there.
The Cobra hat?
No, race hat.
That was good. He says he always had the hat. He always knew it was him.
And I went up and I walked into the pit, and I said to the crew, I want to see Harry or Fred or Dart or what his name was. And he turned around, he's got fire in his eyes, you know.
Yeah.
And I've walked up and stuck my hand out and said, mate, I'm sorry, I didn't think it could get to be that fast.
Yeah.
I apologise. And he's gone, oh, thanks.
He's ready for a scrap. And good psychology, though.
It took the wind completely out of him. He just stopped like he'd been hit with a mullet.
Fantastic. Good stories.
Oh, it's different era, mate, but a lot we can learn by having a look at what we used to do, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes you've got to look back to go forward.
That's it.
Right. Well, Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I appreciate it. We're not over quite yet because we always end the show with Dude's life message. So think about, I'll go to Paul first. So think about if I'm sure you've got plenty of life messages, haven't you? You would have had a few life experiences.
A few?
Yeah. Dude, give us your life
mine's
message.
a simple one.
Yep.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Okay. Anything related to our barn find today?
A little bit, mate.
Yeah, well, it's probably a lot of people that I hear looked at that Falcon as trash. Ended up to be treasure. No. But yeah, they wish they grabbed that. Yeah, it's a very good one. Okay.
Yeah.
One man's trash.
Could be an old
man's
girlfriend,
treasure.
could be anything.
Yeah, could be. I'm not speaking from experience there. Al?
No is not an answer.
Okay.
There you go. It's a good one, eh?
Very positive thought.
Well, determination, isn't it?
Determination. Well, you've experienced every bit of that.
And when are you going to put the brakes on? Last.
Don't break till you see Elvis. Very good. Really appreciate you coming on, Alan Grice. It's been fantastic, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back again with another episode as soon as we get some cool stuff to talk about, drive, and any other lunacy along the way. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys.